Hi students, I just wanted to clarify something about graphing polynomials because I said I didn't care if you did this at this point because we would go over it later, but it turns out we have run out of time to go over it later, so I'm going to go over it really quickly, but I think that you'll understand it very well. So we had an example like example number 1, and I said write the equation of this graph. So what we did, we found out that there's a 0 here at x equals -1. And our multiplicity, because it goes and bounces off the x-axis, has to be an even number. And I said, okay, just go with the lowest even multiplicity, which would be 2. Great. Okay. And then we saw that over here, we went through x equals 2. And I said go with the lowest number multiplicity that's odd, which would be 1. Say x equals 2. But I'm going to say, because I said you can ignore the cubic, you can't ignore the cubic anymore. I know that this is going to have a multiplicity of at least 3 because of the fact it curves like that, and it has that cubic curve that we know about, right? A cubic graph, our basic x cubed, looks like this. So I'm going to say that's multiplicity 3. Okay. Let's compare that over here with our point at x equals 4, or 0 at x equals 4. I know my multiplicity on that one, because it goes straight through the x-axis, is just 1. Because of the fact it's like a completely smooth line. It doesn't bend like the other one. It doesn't have that cubic curve. So I'm just going to say multiplicity 1. And so how I would write this out, I would just go f of x equals, and here's your reminder now. I'm giving you a little reminder before the quiz. A, we need to find that a value. Now I'm going to take my first factor, x equals -1, and write that in factor form, which should be x minus -1, which comes out as x plus 1. My multiplicity is squared there. Now my x equals 2 is going to become a factor at x minus 2, and my multiplicity there is 3. All right, and then I have x equals 4, so my factor there is x minus 4, multiplicity 1, so I don't need to write anything. Okay, and just a refresher, how we find that a value is we need to pick a point on this graph and plug it in for xy. So I'm going to choose that y-intercept at 0, -4. I'm going to plug in -4 over here, equals a, and then I'm going to plug in 0 for x. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to solve all of this out for a. -4 equals a times 1. -2 to the third is -8 times -4. That gets me -4 equals, so 8 times 4 is positive 32 times a. I can divide both sides by 32, and I will get a equals -1/8. So I can go ahead and replace that a with -1/8. It makes sense to me that this is a negative coefficient because my end behavior is that they are both facing down, right? They're going down in the same direction. Okay, now my second example. So my second example is giving you the function, and then you need to graph it. So let's find my zeros. I'm going to have a 0 at x equals 0, multiplicity 2. I'm going to have a 0 at x equals 3, multiplicity 3. And then at x equals -2, multiplicity 1. So I'm going to go ahead and start left to right. My x equals -2 is there. I don't have an a value. Well, my a value is 1, so I'll write that out. Which means that, well, let's see what our degree is as well. So we have 2 plus 3 plus 4. So our highest degree term, since these are all multiplied together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our degree is 6, so that's an even number. Okay, so even number means both ends go in the same direction, And positive a value means that our ends will be going upwards towards positive infinity on both sides. Okay, so I've got, that's a little tangent, but it's necessary because I've got this multiplicity 1 here at x equals -2. And that's important because my end behavior starts here, ends here, so I know I'm coming down from here, and I'm going to cross there. Let's see. I am also going to have a 0 at 0, and my multiplicity there is 2. So I'm going to be coming from down here. I'm going to have to turn to go back up to 0, and because that multiplicity is even, I'm bouncing off the x-axis. Okay, so I've taken care of this one, I've taken care of this one. Okay, now we have this cubic over here at x equals 3. So I'm not going to go straight through it like I would if it was just multiplicity 1. I'm going to go down a bit, and then I'm going to make a cubic curve like that. I can make it curvier if I want to really emphasize it. Man, this is hard to draw. Okay, so I can make it look something like that. Again, I'm not going to know exactly how far down that curve goes. It could look like this, like really steep. This could go, oops, ignore that. This could go really, really steep. And then we could bounce off here, and we could go even steeper and make a cubic thing, or it could go even smaller like this, and we could go hardly there, and then bounce up like this. Any of those, as long as I've got that straight curve, let's get this, that straight line straight through this multiplicity 1. I've got a bounce at this multiplicity of 2, and I've got some sort of cubic looking thing at this multiplicity 3. All right, good luck on your quiz.